Hello, hello, hello. We are live. We are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, divine beings. I am going to give it a minute. I am new to live streaming, so I'm going to ask that you are patient with me as I learn a different technology. Um, Try to see who is where. Um, but yes, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. We'll get started here in just one more minute. Just another minute or so, and then we'll get started. Oh, I can see. All right. We'll get started here in another minute. Welcome, welcome in. Welcome, divine beings. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, my divine beings. Yes, yes. I honor the divinity within each and every one of you. I want to thank you for being here today during my first live event. I have never gone live before, so I am going to beg your patience with me. And yeah, as I'm learning new technology, learning how to do new things. So my name is Robin, Madam Metaphysics, and I want to have a conversation with you today on faith and desire. I am a Christian metaphysician. I study and practice New Thought Christianity, or practical Christianity, as it's also known, or as it was birthed many, many, many years ago. Today, I want to have a conversation on how faith works. As we know, we've all heard many cliches around faith. Have a little faith, why don't you? You simply have to have a little faith. A little bit of faith goes a long way. Or how about this one? You don't have enough faith. These are things that we have heard throughout the years. I'm sure there are some that you have heard. If you've heard any, please feel free to put them in the comments. Some of the cliches that you've heard around faith. So those cliches make faith sound like it's something mystical or magical, and nothing could be further from the truth. Faith is an aspect of who you are. It is something that is a part of who you are. So I want today to talk about understanding how it works so that you can put it to use so that you can have a better life and improve the lives of all of those around you as well. So, as we always do, we're going to start at the source, God the good, right? God the good, always, always good. God is omnipotence, omnipotence, meaning all the power, omniscience, all of the wisdom, and omnipresence, all of the presence. So I'm sure you've heard before that it is that God is omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, and omniscient. But the truth is, God is all. So it's not a quality of God, it is who God is. God is all presence. God is all wisdom. God is all power. And everything that God has created is governed by divine laws. So today, one of the laws that we're going to talk about is the law of cause and effect. So, how I'm sure many of you in school maybe heard about this law called the law of cause and effect. It's something that it's a divine law, but it's a scientific law that we were taught. And the law states that for every effect, there is a definite cause. And for every cause, there is a definite effect. So I'll say that again. For every effect, for everything that happens, there's a definite cause. There is something definite that caused it. And for every cause, there is a definite effect. So if there is an origin of something, an effect happens. For every cause, there is an effect. And God being all there is, God is the creative cause for all things. The ultimate cause, the the ultimate cause, the original cause of all things. It is the origin of all things. And the origin of all things is something we call substance, God's substance. God's substance is that invisible makeup of everything that exists. If we go back to Genesis 1 and 1, chapter 1, verses 1 through 2, it was said that in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. So that's the first creation story where God forms out of the formless. The earth was formless. This formlessness, that is the invisible substance. This invisible substance that exists to this day, that is around us right now. And this substance responded in the first creation story to God's simple command, let there be. Genesis 1 and 3. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. So out of that substance, that invisible substance that makes up everything, was the creation of the formation of the earth and everything that exists around us. And the creation story is telling us a simple fact that everything that we need already exists. And just like God, just like with God, substance also responds to our commands. So it's waiting for us to have our let there be, for us to put forth our let there be. Um, so an example of someone using their let there be and a production and something comes out of it is Beyonce and the manifestation of Cowboy Carter. Um, Using your let there be is you making an ask, you making a decision, you making a command. And Beyonce made a decision after the CMAs to create an album that would dominate that genre. Her Let There Be was creating an album that would dominate that genre. And her command was made manifest, and it resulted in a Grammy for Best Country Album. So that um, album existed in the formless and came to her through divine ideas and manifested through her as an album. We're going to talk a little bit more about how to make that happen for ourselves. And the fact that you are doing that yourself right now. You may not be doing it consciously, but you are doing the same thing as well. Because everything we want is already here as substance. It's not necessarily in physical form. If you don't have it in physical form, that does not mean it is not here. It is here. It's just waiting for us to tell it what shape it should take. And this substance is infinite and it's unexhaustible. And therefore, every need that there is in the physical world can be met if you learn how to shape this substance into form. So, someone receiving their desire has absolutely no impact on whether or not you can receive your desire. I can have everything in the world that I want, and that will not deny you the ability to have everything in the world that you want. So, again, substance is simply just waiting on your command, your let there be. So, what let there be have you been holding on to? Type it into the comments, type it into the chat. What are some of the let there be's that if you could just know, if you knew without a shadow of a doubt that your let there be would come into fruition, what would some of those let there be's be? Put that into the comments. So let's talk about faith. So faith is the ability to bring the invisible into the visible. So we were just talking about substance. Substance is that invisible. Substance is the makeup of all things in the world, all things in the universe. Substance is that invisible. And faith is what brings the invisible into the visible. As stated in Hebrews 11:1, now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. That is just another way of saying that faith is the ability to bring the invisible into the visible. So, this is how faith works. And faith works by what we were just talking about, by using your let there be. By using your let there be and asking for your desire. John 16:24 says, until now you have not asked for anything in my name, but ask and you will receive, and your joy will be complete. You have to ask, you have to make a decision, you have to make a command in order for that substance to come together and form what it is that you desire. And the instant that we make that ask, the desire, that good that is contained in that desire begins to move into our direction. So you have to ask, you have to decide. And once you make a firm decision, desire begins to move in our direction. So let me give you another example. This is Jalen Hurts. So Jalen Hurts is the quarterback of the most recent Super Bowl winning Philadelphia Eagles. And this is a picture of him walking off the field when he was in the Super Bowl the first time, and he lost. And the confetti that is falling around him is of the colors of the opposing team. And he set that photo as a picture on his phone. It was his screensaver, as you can see here. And he made the ask and the desire that the next time he walked off the field at a Super Bowl, the confetti would be in the colors of the team that he represented. That was the ask that he put out there. And he held on to it. And he put it in a place where he could see it every day. And he put that into he made that ask. It was a firm ask. It was unambiguous. It was clear. And once he did that, life began to conspire and bring that desire into fruition through the acquisitions that the team made, adding Saquon Barkley into the staff, bringing on the offensive coordinators, the defense being built up in the way that it was, having a center that was able to fill in when Jason Kelsey left without a beat. All those things conspired and resulted in one of the largest leads at the beginning of a Super Bowl that has ever been recorded. And now he is not only Super Bowl champion, but he is the MVP of the Super Bowl. So that is just one example of using your let there be, of making that ask and it coming into fruition. Because asking is putting the law into action. You have to ask, you have to make that decision, because the supply of every good always waits for the demand. It's just like when you go to a restaurant. Back in the kitchen, the supply is all there. That's substance. It's all there. And all that is waiting for you to get the meal that you want is for you to ask, to make that order. And then everything starts to come together, and out comes your lasagna, out comes your um, shrimp and grits, you know? And it's the same thing. That's the way the universe works, in that exact same way. So the demand must be made in order for the supply to come and fill it. That's how faith works. It's that simple. So knowing this demystifies faith, because you see that it's not magic at all. It's not just wishing and hoping and praying. All of those things can help to keep your mind and your attention on the desire, but you have to put the law in action by making that ask and holding firmly on to the thing that you want to desire. So it's not something that comes and goes. Like I said, it's a power that you possess, and it follows the law of cause and effect. So, how are you enjoying the conversation so far? Have you heard faith discussed in this way before? Is this something that is new to you? If so, put that in the comments. And if you're enjoying the conversation so far, make sure that you like the video, and subscribe to this channel if you're watching on YouTube. We'll have plenty of more discussions like this. If you're watching on Facebook, come on over to the YouTube channel, Divine Potential Unleashed. You don't have to do it right now. And subscribe to the channel, and we can enjoy many more conversations like this. So we've had a conversation about faith. Let's talk about desire. So I'm going to make a bold statement. Your desire is God's desire. What are your thoughts about this statement? What are your thoughts about this statement? Your desire is God's desire. Hi, Richard. Your desire is God's desire. That's a statement that maybe some of you have not heard of before, or it may sound ludicrous to you, right? So let me try to convince you. Let me try to convince you that your desire is God's desire, because I'm sure you're thinking that I know some people that have some desires that do not look like anything that God could ever want. So I'm going to try to convince you that your desire is God's desire. So we're going to start again at the source. And the source, as we talked about earlier, is God. And God is everywhere equally present, and that includes within you. We are all divine beings. We are made in the image and likeness of God, and that divinity resides in each and every one of us. And along with that divinity that we carry comes all the aspects of God. Not to the same degree as infinite, but we still have the same powers and abilities. And this is something that was demonstrated by our way shower, Jesus the Christ. Many signs, miracles, and wonders are recorded in the Bible where Jesus was able to show us how tapping into the divinity and aligning with that divinity could result into many demonstrations of the God within. So every desire that we have is that divinity within us that is seeking expression. There's a divinity within us that is seeking to be expressed. And we are so powerful that we are the only things that can get in the way of our divinity expressing itself. I can't get in the way of you expressing your divinity. You can't get in the way of me expressing my divinity, but I can definitely stop my divinity from happening. So, so if divinity, if a desire is divinity seeking to express within us, then every desire is a God desire. So I'm going to say that again. If desire is truly the divinity within us seeking expression, then every desire is a God desire. H. Emily Cady states in her book, Lessons in Truth, that desire is desire is in the heart, always God tapping on the door of your consciousness with his infinite supply. So what you desire is already yours because it comes from the divinity within you. It's knocking at the door. It's God tapping at the door of your consciousness. That divinity is God itself. So desires are simply God's way of reminding you that there is infinite supply at your command and that anything that you want is yours if you truly want it. God wants you to experience the fullness of who you are. So it silently and gently pushes more and more of itself into the center of your being. And without this push, you have never had the thought of any new desires that would push you closer and closer to your greatness. So, if all desires are God desires, why do some people's desires look so out of pocket? So, every desire starts as a divine calling, but how it expresses through the individual is determined by the consciousness or the soul of that individual. Your soul or your consciousness is made up of three key key mindsets. One is the superconscious mind, there's the conscious mind, and there's the subconscious mind. So let's discuss. The superconscious mind is that aspect of your soul that is linked directly to source, to the divine, to God itself. It is the source of divine ideas and the seat of the good that dwells within every one of us. Your subconscious mind is the activator. It is the seat of all memories, feelings, and beliefs. Whatever is dominant in the subconscious mind is what manifests in your body, in your world, and in your affairs. The conscious mind, as you can see, sits between the superconscious mind and the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. It is the decision maker. This is where thinking, choosing, decision making takes place. And it pivots between whether it's going to pull from the superconscious mind or the subconscious mind to pull information in order to make its decision and impress the subconscious mind in order for manifestation to take place. The conscious mind can also be influenced by external forces, like the consciousness of the world, right? There's a collective consciousness that we all share. We see influences with society, with the things that we read, with the people that we know, the things that we've heard. So the words and acts of others can also influence the decisions that are made by the conscious mind. So again, your awareness or your consciousness is made up of the dominant thoughts, beliefs, and feelings of the subconscious mind. Your soul acts as a translator between the spirit and the manifest world. So while every desire comes from the spirit, which is perfect and good, through you, through your soul, it is translated and interpreted. So as you can see here, you have your spirit where perfection is. Your soul translates it, and then it whatever comes from that translation is what you see in your world. So let's say that the perfect desire that comes to you is love. And if the dominant belief that you have is lack, your desire for love may be translated into jealousy or controlling behavior or wanting a relationship with someone that's already taken. You may want somebody else's significant other. And all of this is because you have a fear of losing love. You believe that there is lack. And so your actions and what you see happening in your world all reflect that. Now, say that this same love is in your spirit and you have a consciousness of abundance. Then your desire for love may translate into healthy, loving, generous, fulfilling friendships, loving, strong family relationships, because you believe that there is always more to be had and experienced. So, what is an example? So, there's an example that I can think of about how your translator can impact you even when things are great. So, one person I'm going to talk about is Elon Musk. I'm not going to talk about anything political, just talk about Elon Musk pre 2025, right? So, in my estimation, Elon Musk operates out of a lack consciousness because despite his net worth of $426 billion with a B, billion dollars, he can't seem to get enough. He's always looking to get more and more and more. And in 2023, 24, he somehow convinced Tesla to give him a pay package of $54 billion. And the the board of directors decided, no, we're not going to give you that. Like, that is not what we're going to give you. And he took them to court. He is worth $426 billion and was fighting for that money. Also, we've heard reports of how he doesn't treat his employees well, how he is stingy, and how he treats his workers, and things like that. And that is abundance being the spiritual idea of abundance being translated through a lack consciousness, and his behaviors are manifesting in such a way where yes he has 426 billion dollars, but he still isn't satisfied and still doesn't have enough. So that's one way that I've seen a translation of a perfect idea of abundance translated into something. So the point is that it's not the desire that is malformed, it's the translation of the desire. The desire is still pure from God, but it's how it's translated in your consciousness, in my consciousness, is how it shows up. So when you see someone wanting something that doesn't align with good, it's not the desire is wrong, and it's not necessarily that there is some sort of evil within them. It's just that person's translation of that desire. That desire is still God knocking at their consciousness, wanting to be expressed. But the soul is just expressing it, translating it rather, in a way that looks misaligned. So to realize the fullness of what is possible for you, it's imperative to align with the divinity within you. So Cherie says that she works to remember that when she's affirming the truth, that she is aligning her conscious mind with her subconscious mind. Yes, you have to align the two if you want to achieve the fullness of what's possible for you. So if you're still here with me and you haven't done so yet, please like this video, whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube. Like this video. If you're over on YouTube, subscribe to this channel, because we will have many more conversations like this, and other types of discussions on everything metaphysics. So we've talked about what faith is. Faith is taking the formless and bringing it into the formed. We talked about what desire is. Desire is the divinity within you seeking expression through you. Now we want to talk about, how do I activate my faith? Because we talked about the fact that the way to activate your faith is to ask, to make that demand, to make that command, so that the infinite substance, this invisible substance, can come into formation and manifest as your desire. So, how do we do that? How do we do that? So, again, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And faith is a process of bringing the formless into form. And the way that we do that is through imagination. According to the Revealing Word, which is a metaphysical dictionary, the faith is the faculty of mind that images and forms. It is the power to shape and form thought. You use your imagination to hold on and to shape the desire that you have. You light up your desire with envisioning, with using your imagination, using visualization in order to hold on to that desire and to make it real. So if your will is sufficiently developed to hold that picture and that thought and that feeling, right? So imagination and visualization is more than just what you see, but it's your entire experience of that desire that activates the faith. So if you have that holding on to that vision, that thought with feeling without any ifs, then that is the attracting power that brings your desire into fruition. That is what causes everything to start moving and aligning into your experience. So, the question I have for you is, what is the vision that you're consistently holding on into your mind? Because again, this is a law. This happens whether it's something you're doing intentionally or not, right? So if you think about what is a vision that I'm constantly holding in my mind, and then inspect your environment and see, do you see the law at work? Do you see the law at work? And is what you're holding in your mind, is it helpful or is it hurtful? And what we're learning here today, that if it is not helpful, then we can change that by changing, what are we asking for? What are we asking for? Have I put out the correct ask? Am I intentional about my ask? Am I using my imagination in a way that activates my faith, bringing the formless into form? So, one thing that people worry about sometimes when you hear about this is, what if I have a desire for something that, and somebody else has the same desire for it? What is yours, right? Because it is God tapping at your consciousness, telling you that this is the thing for you. And supply is infinite and it is unfailing. And so there is no competition in God. So that is never anything you have to worry about. So imagine with wild abandon. Imagine your wildest dream and hold on to it and allow for God to come and fulfill that desire. So let's do a quick recap. So faith is based on law. It's not wishing and it's not hoping. Everything that exists is here right now, either as formless or formed substance. Exercising faith is transforming the formless into form. Imagination is the engine using repeated and sustained visualization. Every desire is a God desire. How desire manifests is determined by how your consciousness translates the desire. And your awareness, your dominant beliefs, thoughts, and feelings make up your consciousness. So, I am so glad that you joined me here today, all of you divine beings on the line. And I appreciate your patience with me as I embarked on my first live. It has been a great conversation with you all. I just hope that you are able to put some of this into action. Don't let this just be a great conversation, but use some of the things we talked about today and see if it works for you. You don't take my word for it. Give it a try. Be intentional about your ask. Hold it into your vision, like Jalen Hurts did, right? Our new Super Bowl MVP. Come back to this page and share your experience after you've given it a try. You can put it in the comments. I read every comment. Like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Um, we will have more conversations. I'm going to have, you won't have just conversations with me. I have some guests that'll join me. I'm also open to hearing what it is that you would like to see. So, thank you for joining my first YouTube and Facebook Live experience. And don't forget, your divine potential is waiting to be unleashed.